We'll wait for one person to just come, and then we'll do it.
Huh?
I don't know. Hey, y'all, this is Ryan Monso, and this is the Talking About Them Cougars podcast from GoCougs.com. That's Brad Pounds, former U of H athlete, and tonight we have interviews with Jamal Morris and Jack Martin. We're going to talk Isiah Harwell, and is Rice really worth playing in the future? I don't know if they are. Brad seems to think they are. But first,
I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. F- it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
so how about Star Pizza? Let's start off. You've got pastas and sandwiches, pizzas, buffet specials Tuesdays and Fridays, lunch specials 5 days a week. Brad, I know no one eats more Star Pizza than you.
Desserts.
Desserts. Never
can't
think
believe
about
you
desserts.
Can't believe you leave that off every time.
I do, and that's on me, and I apologize. I want to give Star a shout out real quick for one thing. I was just randomly looking at reviews, and a U of H fan actually says they let me buy 2 gallons of the ranch for my son's baptism. I am all for that, and shout out Star Pizza. That's exactly what this should look like.
I would like a Yeti cup
A
size.
Yeti cup. I'm sure there is a price for that, but
Yeah.
we're gonna go right into it. Jack Martin is here. We're gonna bring him on. Here he is, Jack Martin.
What's
old
up?
enough to
Welcome.
know that you put your camera this way and not this way.
Not vertical.
Appreciate
Well, yeah,
that.
I'm on the laptop.
Okay, that's fine because none of your teammates know how to do that. And
They'll all
I-
get on the phone and then the screens will be messed up.
yeah, it's just the dumbest thing. Good people, but yeah, don't know what they're doing. Jack, talk us through the start of this season through 3 games. From your point of view, what has it been like?
In comparison to last year,
Sure. Or
yeah,
Troy or Alabama or
that
wherever.
in previous places I've been, I feel like it's very similar to kind of how Alabama has been, and I feel like the culture change has been great, especially since this new staff's come on. Fritz has done a good job of motivating the players and make sure really instilling discipline. I feel like it's a completely different team than last year, but yeah. So I mean, I really like the mindset with the players, and then obviously rough start first game, which I mean that's football, game of life, ups and downs. But I feel like we've done a pretty good job of bouncing back, and obviously not letting that game 1 affect the rest of the season.
When you say it's like Alabama, exactly what do you mean there? Give us some specifics.
I really do feel like Fritz is very similar to how Saban coaches. Very hands-on. He wants to be a part. But the only thing that I really do like here that Fritz is doing is he knows everybody. He knows everybody on the team, and he's not only just a football coach, but he's a mentor. And I mean, he's in every aspect of your life. He's more worried about academics and what you got going on outside the facility rather than inside, which is a great thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have. It's easy when you're around the team. It's easy to see that the give a shit about people is way higher
Exactly.
than it was.
I feel like the most important thing is just having a family culture, and that's one of the
Okay.
things that I was looking at in comparison, and kind of had to bounce around a little bit. But one of the things that I really like and kind of enjoy about football is really just kind of feeling at home. I mean, it's your home away from home. We spend the majority of our time up there at the facility, so the coaches can make it seem like it's family, and that's the best way to go about it.
Last week, I interviewed Joseph Kim.
Yep.
And we did that in TDECU. And all the players had left, but Willie stays around to make sure every guy gets off the practice field. He wants y'all off your feet, out of the heat. And he waited around for Joseph Kim to finish that interview and then walked back with them all the way back to the AAC where your locker rooms are, and just talked with him the whole time. And I was kind of a little behind him, wanted to be respectful, but I was so fast. I wanted to hear it because Dana Holgerson famously said, I don't even know the kicker's name when he was at West Virginia. And to see a football coach just care so much about a guy who at that time was not the starter at place kicker. And I just really, that stuck with me. And I just, it's different than what I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, he's been great.
When you saw an elderly man jumping across the locker room last night, do it in a mosh pit, what did you think about that?
I think some of us are still kind of laughing about that. So we weren't expecting that out of him, which is awesome. So yeah, no, he's still young. I don't know if I'd call him an older guy now. I'll have to tell him you said that.
Please do. Please do. I want to see the results of that.
I'll have to clip you saying that and then show it to him.
I like that. I like that a lot. I want to talk about a strategy on kickoffs.
Yep.
Most people think the only strategy is to boom it out of the end zone.
Yep.
But with the touchback, it's a little bit more nuanced, right?
Yep.
What is the benefit from your point of view, from a special teams coach point of view, of kicking it high between the 5 and the goal line? Why is that the best thing to do?
I'd honestly probably say that's one of my better things. It's just hang time on a kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I get pretty decent hang time on it if it's not in the end zone. And so, I mean, really one of the things that's pretty attractive about that is field position. Even Coach Fritz, and he's big on special teams, and they all preach, I mean, football's game of field position. So normally if the other 10 guys are covering correctly and we follow the game plan and whatnot on kickoff, if you hit a high ball on the goal line and they bring it out, we should tackle them inside the 20.
Right.
Because normally we'll look every kickoff meeting, we'll look at how many guys are inside the 30 when the ball's caught, and pretty much every player besides 2 guys covering are normally inside the 30. So you should be able to tackle them inside the 20.
And you also get like a 30 or 40% chance of a hold when
100%.
a team brings it out.
100%.
And so
I was just
you don't get that on a fair catch or a kick through the end zone.
Yeah, it's
Go
funny
ahead.
you said that because I was watching the Texans game, and then they have the new kickoff rules, and then they were talking about how some of the special teams coordinators were talking about how it's almost even pointless to still even try and bring it out because there was holding penalty, and the Texans started backed up as well.
Yeah. What do you? I don't want to talk about the NFL, but what do you think about that new NFL kick rule?
I talked to a few kickers about it, and one of my best buddies, really. I was the best man in his wedding. Will, he got drafted this past year to the Vikings.
Okay.
He was the kicker at Alabama, and none of us really like it necessarily, just because it kind of takes that aspect away of the next level of kind of what's attractive as a kicker. So now it's more really assessed. Because there was talk when I was talking with them, there was talk about they were trying to put in a normal football player to see if they can kick it pretty much to the goal line or kind of squib one down there just because it's another guy in coverage. And so it's almost kind of taking the kickers out of the kickoffs, if that makes sense.
That does sound like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If even better, if I on a receiving team get to pick the guy that kicks it.
Yep. Which I love though, after watching the first few weeks of this NFL, is strictly so they made the rule for returns, and all the special teams coordinators and kickers are saying basically just screw that, still hitting touchbacks and starting at the 30. So hopefully they go back to what it was.
Yeah. I mean, you understand why they're moving away from it, but it does take football plays out of football. Yeah. And I don't know so much about that. How did you kick it out of bounds late in the game last night? What are you doing, Jack?
Well, when you think about it, so it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Normally you have about 1 or 2 a year if you're kicking off the correct way, because the goal is to put it on the numbers to the left side. So it's, in my opinion, honestly, it's a little bit more beneficial to if you're kicking it where you're supposed to and your miss hit goes out of bounds rather than middle of the field.
Correct.
because normally middle of the field means house call or if not a pretty big return. But yeah, no. So I was hitting them well last night, but a lot of the balls they were fading to the left, both directions though. So it wasn't the wind. Yeah. So I don't necessarily know, but hit them decent.
Yeah, you haven't had to kick off more than 2 or 3 times in a game, so maybe.
Yeah, that game we were talking with all the players. We were talking, which the game didn't last as long, but it felt like it lasted an eternity last night. And so we're all the specialists. I'm sure every other position player, all our legs were pretty much fried.
So put some extra ice on it.
Yeah. Been kicking the feet up today, just watching Red Zone.
So you get Sundays off now, and we had a conversation with another player. Is that more beneficial to you than getting Mondays off, as was in the past?
I don't necessarily know if I really have a preference, to be honest with you. It's more so specialists actually work out on Sundays. So I worked out today, and then so tomorrow's pretty much our complete off day. We'll have practice, but there's no kicking during special teams, and we don't.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Tomorrow. So the reason why we work out today is because our heavy kicking day is Tuesday, and first workout of the week's leg day. So they just try and get us an extra day to recover. But really, I think if you're assessing rest days, you got to think. I don't know if y'all are familiar with baseball or a bunch of people watching baseball. I mean, you can't have a pitcher come out there and pitch 100 balls a day.
True. So unless you play for Rice.
Yeah. It's really just watching like a kick count. Do what?
I'm talking to him. Brad played baseball at U of H, actually.
Did
you? Towns there. Yeah.
Okay.
It was like 100 years ago.
Yeah, I don't even know if we met.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
His career was like this. He was a pitcher.
No, they didn't. I didn't have time to do that.
I was walking
everybody. I was walking everybody.
That's true.
It's hard to knock it out of the yard when it's not even close to the plate.
Yeah, 4 balls is not. Yeah. That's 100% true. Brad is famous on this program and in this website for walking 9 in 3 innings at LSU.
Do you have that plan, or you just typed that in there?
Oh no, that's been there for 2 years. Yeah, we use that a lot.
Forever.
Yeah, we use that quite a bit. Brad, do you have anything?
No.
Okay, great job.
I had something, but I completely whiffed on it. Oh, the one
that's
question
why I
I
write it down.
As far as either where you've played or just been in the stadium, where's the toughest place you've seen to kick?
Toughest place I've seen to kick?
Mm-hmm.
I'd honestly say the bigger the stadiums, the more the wind swirls. So, like, really kickers, they just kind of assess the wind. I know last year, really windy places, it was Kansas State and Texas Tech. I didn't know how windy Lubbock was. Jeez, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
but,
it's brutal.
But yeah, loudest environment I've probably ever seen was when I was at Alabama. I thought it was A&M when A&M beat us on their field goal. But it was definitely Tennessee because a few of the clips we come in Sunday and watch film at Alabama and couldn't even watch the end zone copies because the camera was shaking.
Yeah,
because the crowd was so loud. It was unbelievable. Yeah, it was great.
Joseph Kim missed 2 kicks yesterday. They look like bad holds to me. Is that something that you talked with him about? Like, don't put it on yourself, or just go back out there and kick again? Or do you think that he's pretty much got that covered?
I think more as a kicker, if a lot of the kickers take the blame for everything, to be completely honest with you, whether it be there's a lot of aspects that kind of go into it, rather than if you're kind of looking at it from the outside or not familiar with a kicking background. Easiest things to do is just blame the kicker. And so there's a lot of moving aspects that go along with it, and then you got to be precise with the snap, hold, and kick and routine going in, because a lot of things you can go out there and a lot of things can happen. I know even last year there was 10 men on the field one time, 10 guys. So like stuff like that happens. You can't really plan for it. But one of the things, I mean, just next kick mentality and hopefully getting a chance to bounce back. That's one of the most important things as a kicker, and just kind of flush it in short-term memory, because you can't sit there and dwell on it and say, also it was a bad snap, bad hold, because to be honest with you, at the end of the day, it's a miss on your stat line. So So you kind of got to take accountability regardless. That's part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to do that, then don't be a kicker. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, same goes as just working.
What's your favorite order at Star Pizza?
Favorite order?
Yeah, what you like?
So I'm definitely a supreme pizza kind of guy. But so recently we've been going, and then I'm actually a fan of their sandwiches. I really do like the sandwiches because I do like the sides, the potatoes as well. Yeah, so I do like the sandwiches. I've been going the turkey avocado. Yeah, so that's pretty good. I like it. I enjoy it.
Okay.
I think we're hitting Star Pizza this Thursday.
We are. I'm excited.
Okay.
I am just totally latching on any possible chance I get. I want to show you something.
Hold on. What's your favorite order?
Plain.
Plain. You're a cheese.
Just anything. No.
Anything?
I like the Maryland, which is Canadian bacon, pepperoni, and onion. Extra sauce for me. I like it saucy. But my favorite pizza in the whole world, Brad, I'll tell you, onion only.
It's disgusting.
It's the best pizza.
To be completely honest with you, I'd like it.
And Jack, this is the smart thing here, right? I'm thinking like a kicker. When you order an onion only pizza, you know who eats your pizza? Nobody. It's all to yourself. Nobody bothers you.
Taking it home.
And you know where that
put in my pocket.
Where that really backfires? Whenever we're on a road trip we
went to El Paso
to watch U of H, and he doesn't eat all of it because he's just a little bitty fella. And so he eats like 2 or 3 pieces, and that thing stinks up the entire car.
Yeah.
Oh no, I bet it does.
It smells like death.
And you got to keep your distance because he's probably got hot breath after.
Yeah, it was only 9 hours. I don't know what you're whining about. Star Pizza, Jack. We just showed this before you came on. They let me buy 2 gallons of ranch for my son's baptism. If you are ever blessed with a son, I hope you get 2 gallons of ranch from Star Pizza.
Yeah,
for your kid's baptism.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll keep the specialist connection at Star Pizza, and I'll take him.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's not that Hidden Valley Ranch. It's
no. I think they make it.
They're delicious. It's special. It's a special blend.
He said everything from scratch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jack and I share an affinity for Waffle House.
Who doesn't?
You'd be surprised.
Best restaurant in America.
Yeah, that's how you tell a Russian spy.
And I live by that.
Or an Australian.
I still got to take him to Waffle House.
You really do. You got to do that.
We're going to go.
You have a special order that I've never heard anybody else tell me. What is this?
Well, I got 2 orders. It depends. So if I'm going the breakfast route, I'll go the All-Star. And then so All-Star, sub the toast for a biscuit. They got the best biscuits. Eggs over easy, double hash browns, scattered, smothered, covered. And then get a waffle. Don't even touch the waffle. Is that not crazy? I don't even eat the waffles at Waffle House.
Why would you?
Exactly. And forgetting the most important part. Waffle House has the best grilled chicken. By far. The best grilled chicken I've ever had. So I'll sub the sausage or bacon for a grilled chicken breast. And then say I'm going no breakfast. I'm doing the Texas bacon patty melt. Sub the patty for a chicken breast.
I've never heard anything like this.
I like
it. It's insanity to me, but I'm kind of in it.
You got to try it next time.
Okay, I'm going to try it. We make the dressings from scratch, so yes, that's a true statement on that.
There we go.
Jack, what did it mean to this team to get a win yesterday?
Well, I feel like hopefully that's kickstarting the rest of our year, and I mean translating it even to kicking. Once you see one go in, it's a little bit easier, and so I feel like I don't want to say easier, but you can kind of get the ball rolling once you see a little bit of success, and it's really a confidence boost, and I feel like an energy boost as well for the team leading up to practice, and obviously I feel like it's best time to get a win going into conference play, and so I feel like we'll kind of be going in on a high and hopefully can bounce off that.
You kind of stand around a lot. You don't do much. What do you see?
Was that a shot? Was that a shot?
A little bit, yes.
Okay.
What are you seeing from this team? How is it growing? How are the guys developing? And give me like some examples of guys that you see progress in the last 6 or 7 weeks.
Oh, well, I feel like one of the things even Fritz has said is he always says recruit, retain, and develop. And so a lot of young guys have been stepping up, and then even transfer guys. And I've seen, even with older guys from last year, a lot of improvement. I love seeing Donovan out there, and just I feel like most importantly, Donovan's molded into more of a leader compared to last year. He's kind of filled that role, and I feel like that's been good. And so the team, regardless of any performance, and that's one of the things why I preach. I love the family culture here at Houston, strictly just because regardless of how you play, you have a leader in that role, and then you follow behind them. And so, yeah, I feel like a lot of guys are taking advantage, especially last night getting reps. And so that was awesome to see a lot of people playing.
Is there a time talking about building the culture? Is there a time during the off season to where all of a sudden just everything snaps into place and everybody gets it? Or is it just something that happens over time?
Well, I feel like the best way to do it, and I could be completely wrong, but for myself, I can't really speak for everybody else, is we're up there so long. And so if it feels like a job, then it's not fun and it doesn't feel like family. And I feel like just making football fun because we're up there so much. I mean, the majority of our college career is spent up there at the football facility and doing football. And so I feel like if you can enjoy doing it, and then obviously that brings a good morale, and then people start meshing, and it's more fun, and then people getting to know each other. And that's one of the things also is just everybody talks to everybody. And normally being a kicker, position players kind of avoid getting to know the kickers and talking to us. But one of the things I really like about this place is everybody knows everybody on the team, and we're just another football player, which is awesome.
Right.
I was going to ask you a question, and it's just totally lost it. Yeah, it happens. I know. What? Goddamn. Sorry, Jack. This is what's going to happen to you one day.
Oh, yeah.
It comes for all of us.
Oh, he's got the readers on now.
Yeah, it is not readers. I'm blind. Talk about that's actually what I wanted to do. There we go. Jamal Morris just texted me. I love that guy. People don't really understand the time commitment. When you go into fall ball, you're talking 17 hours a day that you're in the facility, practice, meetings.
Yeah, you have no life.
Food stuff. Yeah, no, y'all really. I mean, you have to be just dog ass tired, and then you've got to be back at 5:30
the next morning
for food.
Yep.
What about during the season? What is your time commitment, kind of Monday through Friday during game week?
Yep.
During the year.
I feel like fall camp is completely different than being in when school starts and being on a season schedule. I feel like as a college football player, you'll know real fast during fall camp if you can do it or not. And so if you can get through fall camp and do that part once a year, it's pretty much smooth sailing the rest of the year. So in season schedules, I love it personally, because even in spring ball, we're kicking every practice, and then so that can take a toll on just, I mean, like I said, kicking 100 balls a day. But during the season, for myself, we obviously have practice. Breakfast starts at 5:30, and so I'm normally there. I'm pretty much there 6 o'clock, and I'm out the door by 12:30, 1 o'clock, and so I have the rest of the day free, which has been awesome. And we kick Tuesdays and Thursdays, and so it's been pretty nice on the legs. So you'll go in the game feeling fresh.
You have how many degrees? Like 3, 7?
I got a few I could hand out. Yes.
Okay.
I'm about to start auctioning them off.
Got to make some money somehow.
So I got 2. I got my undergrad in finance, and then just got my master's this past May in management and leadership.
Okay. So what are you doing now?
Right. I'm just in classes for eligibility purposes. So I wanted to do something somewhat productive, just because I feel like it's kind of wasting time, but there's not really anything I can do in 6 months to add to my resume or whatnot. And I think I tried to do a certificate I don't know if it worked out for football eligibility purposes or something. So yeah, I'm just kind of in random classes right now. To be honest with you,
what are you?
Don't ask me which classes I'm in because I don't know the names of them. I probably shouldn't say that, but
you probably shouldn't know.
It's some kinesiology and a few business ones. But
if we're clipping things for Willie, I think that's one I should probably clip.
One. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what classes I'm in.
We'll keep this one. We'll keep this one on the podcast.
Okay.
But see, that's at least it's with 2 degrees in pocket.
Yep. Yeah.
Right.
You can't say I don't do schoolwork because
you get 2
I
of
got
them.
I got a 4.0 in the master's program, so I actually do something.
Okay.
There you go.
And you're going into finance after this, right?
Either finance or I'm kind of looking the medical sales route.
Well, that's not a bad way to go.
Yeah, so
work on your golf game there.
Yeah, as long as I can talk to people, that's pretty much the main thing. I can't sit behind the desk and sit still.
Okay, Brad, what do you have?
Go ahead.
Okay.
It'll come to me.
Well,
Maybe.
probably not.
Next week, probably.
Yeah, we'll have Jack back or just ask him one day. All right, Jack Martin, kickoff specialist, place kicker. You've been a punter before too, right? You punted at Troy?
I did, yeah.
Why is the route you're going now with place kicking better for you than punting?
I mean, I'd pretty much say I kind of went into college as a true combo specialist.
Okay.
Yeah, so could really kind of do all three. It can get pretty hard as a specialist to do all three strictly just because punting's a completely different swing than a kickoff and field goal, just because you're swinging across and punting's a straight swing. But yeah, so at the time at Troy, I did kickoffs and punts, and so I kind of didn't really kick field goals too much. So I was kind of in a punting mode and did really well there, and went to Alabama. Went to Alabama, and yeah, so kind of switched to a kicker when I got there, strictly just because Australian punter was there at the time, and coach thought that was the best. So yeah, kind of switched to kicking and haven't really punted a ball in a while. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, did pretty well at Troy.
Yeah. Whatever. That's Jack Martin. One of my just funny guy. Enjoy seeing him a couple days a week. Go get him this week. No balls out of bounds.
I'm gonna try.
Okay. I appreciate that. All you can do is try.
I thought you were going to say
that's all you can do.
Since you knew the one's eventually going to happen, you just tanked it and said, "Okay, let's get it up."
Yeah, it's normally I've kicked off 3-4 years, and normally it's one. It's one or two a year.
Okay.
So go ahead and just shoot that one over there in a comfortable.
You can ask every other kicker kicking off though, and ask them how many they got. It's normally about one or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
happens.
3 different jobs in kicking. It's a kickoff. It's field goals.
Well, you're a
PATs,
golfer.
and
You're a golfer, and you're a golfer. So say you're driving and you're trying to win a long drive competition.
Different thing.
Surely you're going to come across one occasionally when you're swinging too hard.
Occasionally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ryan, just think of my golf game.
Probably a little bit more than occasionally for you though.
Yeah. The last time I played with Brad, it's probably been 15 years. He lost a driver in a tree and had to go back to the course days later to retrieve that out of that tree. So we don't really talk about the golf with Brad.
Hey, and that was a legit swing. I striped it right down the fairway.
No.
Yeah.
So now
It just slid out. It was starting to rain. Just slid out of my hand after the follow through.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. I still need to play. I still need to play Ryan in golf.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. It's gonna be embarrassing for you. You're a college athlete, and we'll see. Okay.
We'll see.
All right, Jack Martin. Thanks so much, bud. We appreciate it, and good luck this week.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on.
Yep, 100%. See y'all.
All right, have a good one.
He's okay. He's okay.
Getting started
I don't know
well.
if I care about it. I don't know if I like him all that much. Yeah. Whatever.
Did you see this?
Yeah, I did. It's disgusting, and you should block that person from commenting again.
Man, I don't know about that.
I mean, how much do you hate your life to say Waffle House is gross.
Man, Waffle House and Fight Club at the same place. I mean, it's breakfast and Fight Club. You can't come up with better.
I was at the Waffle House in Norman, right outside of Oklahoma City, last weekend, and there was an elderly man older man, probably your age, elderly man in front of me paying his bill, and he turned around. Something was happening. He said, "You see that shit?" And I was like, "Yeah, we should just start fighting, me and you." And he was ready, I think, and that's when I got out of there because I thought he would probably whoop me. Let's take a time out from the football for just a minute and talk about big news in basketball this week, the commitment of Isiah Harwell. You okay there, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Popping my back.
Okay. Isiah Harwell, the number one shooting guard in the country. It's pretty remarkable what this program has become. And we say this virtually every time we talk about basketball. We sat in Hofheinz with 300 people there, and we did it a lot. And for them to be in a position where they're getting these five-star plus, in this case, whatever that is, and because of that, and because of other guys, they're probably going to get five-star guys. They're having to say no to high 4-star and low 5-star guys.
Yeah, just other top elite recruits, regardless of star rating or whatever.
First guy that commits gets the scholarship.
And the weirdest thing to me is I'm not surprised. Okay. I'm not surprised when we land somebody like this.
Explain.
Well, there was a time where, you know, if we're in discussions with a top tier elite recruit, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe we're even a finalist. Oh my God, we can really get somebody like this. Like when Daniel House originally signed with us way back when, you know, everybody was shocked that we were in the conversation, much less getting to sign a guy like that, because he was top of the charts rated. It was a little bit of a surprise that we get somebody like Quentin Grimes to come back, but we've gotten Jarris, we got all these other guys. Mercy Miller's the most recent one. Terrence Arsenault. You get big name guys like that, and you see how the program is evolving. It's not really a surprise that whenever you're going to lose a bunch of guards like this, like we are after this season, that there are going to be some elite players that are interested in filling in. I mean, from a guard position, I mean, we've done incredible as far as the producing talent and having guys
developing
coming in,
talent.
Guys that aren't coming in as seen elite, but they walk out of here as elite players.
Yeah. And I mean, Jamal Shed will forever be the one guy you think of who was a good player when he came here and left here probably going to get his jersey on the wall.
Yeah. When you see, I mean, Tajay Moore just signed a 2-way deal in the NBA. I mean, that's a guy that came here and just exploded.
Right. And so
Dejan Giroux, you know, he's still in the G League. Up and down between the NBA. Yeah. So, I mean, you got guys who are coming through here who are having great success, and they are improving a lot. So it doesn't surprise me that an elite player with an elite mentality would want to come here to improve and get that much better and put that kind of work in. I felt really good that we were going to get Harwell when on his visit, he brought his strength coaches. I'm like, this is a wrap. We got this. A kid that thinks and has the mentality to bring his strength team, if you will. That's a guy who's going to commit to us.
Okay. I mean, that's reasonable. I believe the staff feels pretty comfortable in their chances to get Kingston Flemings, the guy from San Antonio, the point guard. They really like him. He's a 5-star. He is that guy, the guy of the future. and they feel really good about him. There's a center, but he's very early in the process. CNAC, I believe, is his name. I don't know if they have a feel for him quite yet, but they really do feel good about Kingston Flemings. There are some guys that they just have had to stop recruiting because of a numbers game. And while the belief is that they're going to have scholarship increases due to the House settlement, that's in such a gray area. You can't definitively say we're going to have 15 scholarships instead of 13. So they're kind of in a no man's land where you could potentially have 4 5-star guys. But with the numbers and where you're at, you're just going to have to figure it out.
Yep.
This comment, still surprised when you're getting, because they're not competitive in NIL. There is some competitiveness in basketball. The guys that need the money are getting the money. Harwell is an interesting case, and I need to be 100% on this, but I believe he is going to high school in Nevada, and I believe the NIL rules are different in that state for high school kids. And so he's already signed with some companies. I think he did a signing with Topps this weekend. I believe a company called Clutch he's working with. So guys like that who are starting with that NIL money beforehand, before they even come to U of H, that I don't think anybody really has a handle on how that works. But they are competitive in basketball. They're not what Arkansas is going to pay out under Calipari, or what Kansas is paying out, or what Kentucky's paying out. They're just not. But you'd pick the guys here over the guys there in a game.
I mean, a lot of those guys are still going to be. Those guys are going to still be great players. But let's not get it twisted. The type of player that is attracted to the program of the University of Houston, of what it is every single day, is not the guy who's going to come in and say, I need X or I'm going somewhere else. Because
correct.
No matter how much money you can get paid, if we had a $20 million budget and go out and buy any player we want, it doesn't matter how much money you make if you're not deep in the culture, and you're not deep into the way things are done here, that money's just going to be a noose, because you're going to hate every minute of it. And you probably won't play because you're not willing to do, and you're not going to fit what we want to do. And luckily for us, that everybody involved with the U of H staff can see that a mile away. They have a pretty good idea if that's one of our guys. We've got somebody, our guys are a different breed. And there's a small pool of those types of players out there, and there's only a few teams really fishing in those waters.
And you're seeing it with football, with certain teams, where the cancerous part of NIL is really tearing them apart. You saw it with A&M over the last few years, maybe Florida State this year. But you haven't seen anything like that in this U of H basketball program. A lot of that is because they self-police. The players, I don't want to say they have a say in who's recruiting or who's recruited, but they do have the ability to say he's not one of us. And that matters to this coaching staff. Everybody has to fit in, starting at the very bottom. I have been told that recruits coming in get close to grad assistants. They get close to support staff. They get close to coaches and assistant coaches. Alan Bishop, you have seen, I think even Harwell has said that Bishop was a really big part of his commitment. So
if I was going to recommend anything to a recruit, I would say find out who the people you're going to be dealing with every day. Make sure that you're on board with those guys, because you're going to be with them more than you're going to be with anybody.
Yeah.
And they can make if you have a conflict or a personality clash between one of them, you're probably going to end up being miserable because they're not going to change.
No,
they're there for a reason.
And you're starting to see across the country strength coaches playing an even bigger role in recruiting.
They should.
It's definitely happening with Kurt Hester in football, with Willie Fritz, and it's happening with Alan Bishop in basketball here. And I am fascinated to find out even more about that. Like, I asked Kurt Hester the first time I ever spoke to him, like, what is your role in recruiting? And he soft pedaled it a little bit, but players have since told me he was a real big reason why he came. Yep. I want that. Malik Carr, I think, is the one that I remember, said he's going to help me get to that next level. Yeah. And Jaden York, another tight end, said he's going to be there with me all the way through the draft and getting, if he needs a free agent contract or whatever. They believe that those guys are going to be there with them. And that is just a component that was not used in recruiting even just a couple of years ago.
Yep.
All right, let's switch it up back to football. Jamal Morris. Those of you that have followed Go Cougs for a few years know what Jamal has meant to us and how great a guy I think he is. Jamal came from Fort Bend Bush. He went to OU with Lincoln Riley. He did not get a chance to play that first year and said it was the hardest thing in his life because he would watch the guys get on the bus to go to a road trip, and he was stuck watching the game in his dorm room. And he started making some bad choices and got involved in some things he shouldn't have. And he was held accountable for that. He fell into depression. Things really started to snowball, and then Lincoln Riley left. The new staff really weren't big on him, and so he got in the transfer portal. And Hassan Hippolyte helped him to make a connection with Archie McDaniel, who was the linebacker coach here before, and he got a new lease on life. And about the same time, he found out he was going to be a father. He is an awesome father to a little boy who's going to turn 2, I think, at the end of the month. So we have an interview for you with him. Jamal, we had to do this recorded because Jamal's girlfriend surprised him with tickets to the Saints and Cowboys today in Dallas. Jamal's from New Orleans. He grew up in the 9th Ward. Katrina happens, and so he moves to Houston. So he's a Saints fan, is what I'm trying to say. But I love this guy. He is genuine. He is thoughtful. He's a good football player. And he's one of my favorites to talk to. Here's our interview we did just about 2 hours ago with Jamal Morris. So Jamal Morris. So tell us, what is the difference in this year's defense and last year's?
I feel like this defense has an identity. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's fun going to practice and knowing that every guy's going to play hard, every guy's going to give effort. So the identity is we're going to play hard, we're going to play fast, and we're going to run to the ball, and everything else is going to take care of itself. So it's fun being a part of a defense where everyone's trying to get on the same page instead of begging everyone to get on the same page.
Right.
I think it's surprising for outsiders to see so many new starters all come together and connect and click so fast. Why do you think that is?
It's just the family environment that Willie Fritz has created as Shield Woods as well. They made us realize that we're the only ones that we can lean on when things get tough. So we all banded together and realized that if we want to do what we want to do, and if we want to achieve what we want to achieve, we got to come together. It can't be you by yourself. You got to be one of 11 working together to do a job and achieve a goal.
Shield Wood, what do you think of him as a defensive coordinator, but also a linebacker guy?
It's a blessing that I can have the defensive coordinator as a position coach because you learn everything. You don't just learn your position and your techniques. You learn what everyone else is supposed to do. And having Shield Woods as a coach has elevated my game to great heights because I'm learning so much new football. And so I thought I had a high IQ, but because he's my right hand man, literally in the meeting room, I sit right next to him, so I can soak up all the knowledge that he can give me. So being in his defense has really elevated my game and my IQ to make me play faster and harder.
What do you think this defense needs to improve on? The numbers are great, but where do you need to go from here?
I feel like this defense just needs to improve on just being on the same page as far as just checks and things like that. Okay, so this is what happens, this is what we're going to have. We just need to be on one page because sometimes everyone gets a check and this one person might not get it. So we just need to do better at communicating with each other at a fast rate, in my opinion.
Okay,
especially
Brad?
when things get out.
Okay.
Coming into this season, one of my concerns on the defense was losing two of your big bodies up front in the defensive line. Mm-hmm. It's strange that you've replaced them, and it looks like the linebackers are able to play a lot cleaner.
Yeah, that shout out to Carlos Allen. He's been a big part. He's been dominating up the middle ever since he's been here. You know, he's a guy who he came in, he worked hard, and he earned just what he's been getting. So it's been a privilege and a blessing having him up front to do all the dirty work so I can stay free. Me and Mike can stay free and make a couple tackles.
Well, it really has allowed you guys to use your speed, use your game sense, and you guys are sideline to sideline. And it's been impressive to see. I love to see linebackers who can get out there and run, and you're finally able to be able to do that.
It's just a competitive environment that Shield Woods and Willie first created. You know what I'm saying? So everyone's being competitive. So if you're being average, you stand out in a bad way. So everyone's always trying to bring the A game. Everyone's always trying to be the best and do what they can do to be the one of 11 for the team.
Right.
We had Michael Batten on with us last night after the game, and he said one of the first things he noticed was he thought he played hard on every play, but he got 7 loafs in his first practice.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that the expectations are different than where you had him last year?
Definitely. Shield Woods, he grades hard, and he tells us if it's any change of speed, if you turn it down any contact, if it's so he grades really hard. But I feel like that helps us because we always have that in the back of our mind. I can always go hard. There's always something more I can do. It's something that we say around the locker room. It's fine work. It's always something that you can do. It's always something that you can do to help out the team.
You told me before fall practice that the under the radar guy was Michael Batten, that he was fast, that he was smart on the field, that he was instinctual. And I didn't really know anything about him at that time, but I feel like we have found out a lot about him. What is it about his game? Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you this. He texted me and he said, okay, this is supposedly the guy to watch. And I'm like, who? Batten? I've never heard that name.
Yeah.
I said, well, if they're saying it, then, we'll see.
Yep.
And sure enough.
Yep.
What has he shown you since the beginning of fall ball through these first 3 games? What has he shown you that's made more impress you even more?
I feel like he's shown me his grit and his drive to get anything done. He's a guy we were just talking about it man, we finally just won a game, after 12 games, after 10 games of just losing, adding on from last season. He said it's finally good to get a win. And I noticed that no matter what he plays, who he goes against, he's always going to go hard. You know what I'm saying? He's a former quarterback, so there's certain things about the linebacker position that he's still figuring out, but you'll never know by the way he plays so fast and by the way he plays. So it's been a blessing having him as my running mate. He compliments me, so it's not just sometimes I don't have to feel like I have to lift the world all the time. I know that Mike got my back and I got his.
Yep.
What about that first win? Did that take a lot of pressure off? Is it a different feel for you?
It finally feels good to win. No matter how you win, no matter who you win against, it finally just feels good to be like, okay, we practiced hard all week, we worked hard, we watched a lot of film all week, and this is the results. This is what it looks like when we come together and everyone plays together as a whole. Because I feel like we had a complete game, even though with certain penalties that kind of set us back and made us kind of digress. I feel like we played together as a team, special team, defense, and offense, and we complemented each other. So we finally feel good to get a win, and we always know that as the season goes on, we're going to get better and better. But the way at the rate we're getting better is very encouraging. So we're looking forward to starting Big 12 play and starting off with a bang.
A question about your schedule. You're in Dallas right now. It's Dallas, right? I have that right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm Dallas. I'm waiting on my plane. Leave at 8:00.
But you get Sundays off now instead of Mondays, as it had been before.
Oh
is that better for a player, or is it not as good?
Yes, it's been great. Because when I was at Oklahoma, that's what I'm used to. You have Sundays completely off. So when I came here, it was an adjustment. I'm not a guy to complain. I just get up and work. I follow orders. So it was tough. Having to come. I'm sore, got these pains. I can't sleep in. I gotta come up to the school anyways just to work out and practice with helmets on. So it was tough on the body. It was like it felt like it was a 7-day-a-week thing, like it was never ending. But having that Sunday off, you have that chance to really decompress and just, okay, I'm gonna do this homework. I'm about to play with my son, take my son to the park. I just played some sand volleyball out here in Dallas with my cousins. So it's like having that Sunday off is always good to connect with your family and connect with yourself and, reset, refocus, and get ready for the next week and do it all over again.
How's your boy doing? It was just his birthday, right?
His birthday is actually in 2 weeks. We're trying to figure out what we're gonna do for him. It's special. He's growing so fast. It's feel like I just had him after Tulane game when we played Coach Fritz 2 years ago. So
that's exactly when.
So it's going by fast, but it's exciting.
Awesome.
I want to ask you about Coach Aldridge. You played for him at Bush. What was he like as a man?
We talk about a man who single-handedly held the community together. He's a man of integrity. He's a man of class. He's a man of character. And he was always that father figure to everyone who plays sports. Not even just people who play sports, it's everyone in the school, And I'm blessed to have my father in my life. But when I go to school, I feel like that's my new father. And he's going to look out for me. He's going to make sure that I was okay, no matter what it costs. So him as a man, he's just touched so many lives, and I think you've seen it. They did some news coverage on the Orange Out game, and it's also a balloon release that's going to happen at my high school on Wednesday. So I'm definitely going to be there. So it's just the love from the community, all the views that's been happening, all the reshares, all the reposts. It just you can see that everyone cares about him. Everyone cared about him, and it hurt that it was so unexpected and sudden. So it was tough.
This week's been pretty difficult for you. How have you kind of kept it on track with football at school and all that?
One thing that I try to implement into my life, something that Coach Mack and also Coach Archie McDaniel from the previous staff, and something that Coach Woods been instilling in us linebackers, that you got to be the same person every day. If you want to be the guy, you got to be the guy every day. You can't take days off. So I've been trying to work on, like, no matter what's going on in my home life, no matter what's going on, when I'm at work for these 2 hours of practice, I'm 100% locked in. It was hard because one time at practice, Coach Kev, he came up to me. He was just comforting me and, giving his condolences, and I kind of started crying at practice a little bit. So, but then I wiped my tears, put my helmet back on. It was time to run against scouts, So just having the attitude that the work still got to be done, and it's just not about you. And it's bigger things at hand, and I know that Coach Aldridge wouldn't want me messing up plays, just because I'm sad and things like that. So I knew how much this game meant to him, so I just wanted to just play hard, no matter the outcome. I was just gonna play hard and just hope that I made him proud.
So, last question: did Coach Aldridge ever tell you much about his playing career at U of H?
Yeah, he said I believe that he used to play left tackle. And something that happened where his coach, I forgot his name, but his coach said he wanted him to play defensive tackle. So that's when he, got into defensive tackle. He did good at defensive tackle, and then when he got drafted as a linebacker. Yep. So he used to just tell me all the time, even though, football was a little different, playing linebacker was a little different back then. He used to tell me how, like, the give me game about how linebackers work. You know, you can't be scared to get in there and, you know, being there with the linemen, falling over, tripping over linemen. So, you know, he's been really helping me with my game and my IQ. Like, that's a big part of my IQ and my awareness. That's where that's came from, honestly.
Awesome. We appreciate it, Jamal. You're great as always. Thank you so much. One of my favorite guys in this program, Jamal Morris.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Mr. Towns.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Have
All
a
right.
great one. Be safe getting back.
Thanks, Jamal.
Thank you.
I love that guy. I love that guy. I do love that guy. Jamal Morris, linebacker, been here, I think this is his third year, and starting to play really well. Him and Michael Batten there in the middle. The numbers weren't great this week, but they did exactly what they were supposed to do. He played half of his snaps out on the slot, so not traditional linebacker, what you think. So, you know, he's just doing a lot. Batten's doing a lot. This defense has played incredibly well.
Yep.
What are your thoughts of that interview, what you heard from him?
It's things like this is why I'm glad we do what we do here. And because every football team, every athletic program, every one of the players has a story.
Yep.
And I'd say 99% of them are all just great kids. Now, how the things play out on the field, you never know what's going to happen there. But, you know, our goal going back to when we started is we want to tell the stories. We want to tell the stories of, you know, at the end of the day, the game is what it is, but we want to tell the stories of the people behind it. And I just love seeing these types of interviews because you see who they are and gives you an insight into how that kind of translates to their development on the field. They become not just a number and stats attached to that. You know, you get to hear really just what goes on with them deep down. It gives you a reason, more of a reason to follow the players and appreciate what they do. So that type of interview right there just cements that, just makes me extremely proud to be involved.
Yeah. I don't really root for teams. I try to root for people. And he is one of those people that I 100% root for. Just his story is so unique and there's so many layers to it. And selfishly, when we wanted to start a mental health component, really talk about mental health in athletes. I've told this story, but I was on a flight after the Sweet 16 a year and a half ago. I, by chance, went to Charlotte and then came back to Houston. I sat next to a soccer player from Stetson, and she and I talked about mental health in athletes the entire flight. She was on a committee, and that's what they worked on. And it was something we were thinking about getting into, but she really clicked it in our head. And we got started in August of last year, and right around the same time that Reggie Chaney passed. And Jamal was our first athlete that said, I want to work with you. I want to help get this started. And he had some, you know, we did some interviews and we talked through it, and he had some reservations. And then we put everything together, and he saw how it looked and was like, yeah, I want to do this. And he came back to me about 6 weeks later and said it was incredible how many of his teammates were proud of him, and that they all were coming up to him and embracing him for opening up. And that takes a lot of guts for a football player to admit, to have these emotional and mental hurdles to overcome. But he did it. He was a man. And I have always appreciated that. And I've always been so proud of him and respected him. And it you know, when we talk about the things that we're proud of with this website, that's my number one thing is Jamal Morris stepping up. You know, we did what I think is a phenomenal piece Ryan Elvin wrote for us about when his father passed.
Yep.
Other guys have written, players have written about other players. But when Jamal kind of pulled the sheet back and showed you what he had been through and what he'd overcome, that was the most proud I've ever been to do what we do. And we tell a lot of stories about between the lines, but it's when you learn about these guys outside of those lines, the sacrifice, the time commitments, the everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the part that keeps me coming back doing this.
Yep.
I'm gonna break some news here. I do not make millions of dollars doing this. Towns certainly does not make millions of dollars doing this, but it's the people, and I have been blessed to kind of do what I want to do. You know,
Yep.
I have decided this is how I want my life and my career to go, and I've kind of done it. And,
Mhm.
you know, I'm very proud and happy with that. But this is why, is telling these stories, meeting these people, seeing a level beneath the on the field between the lines. And Jamal is my absolute favorite person from that point of view. And as you saw earlier with Jack Martin, Jack's kind of the same kind. He's a good guy. He is a great a good guy to talk to, smart, and there's a lot of that in this football program, in this basketball program, in this department, really.
Mhm.
There's just good people. And it's been a hoot to get to tell their stories. And I just appreciate Jamal Morris so much. Okay, switching gears. And this is kind of a wide swath. You want to keep Rice on the schedule in football.
Yes.
I think you're an idiot. Tell me why that should happen.
Well, one, it is a game that never leaves the city of Houston.
Okay.
It's a game that we can always go to. There's a little bit of a tradition to it. I mean, if we're going to say
there's tradition. There's fun.
If we're going to say we're Houston's team, we might as well go out and prove it every week or every year, and just go out and stomp Rice and move on to the next thing. I mean, it was unfathomable that we could ever lose to them until, you know, somebody proved us wrong.
Oh, Dana.
But I like the game, and most importantly, I think the game and the students, their attendance proves it, that it matters to them. It's the game. It's a game that they're interested in. The reason why, and I think back to when I was a student, is that when you go out on the weekends, you run into Rice kids. So it's
then you're hanging out at the wrong place.
Well, back in the day,
they're not in the Marquee, and they're not at Volcano.
Yeah,
or Kay's Lounge.
We were right down the street from there.
Yeah,
from Rice. So, you know, maybe it's different, but they still do run into people. They might even walk in the same circles, but it's bragging rights, something that they take pride in, and it gets them out to the game. And I think that giving them extra reasons to get out to the game, I think that makes sense, because as much as we rely on our older alumni to help fund the program, we have to cater to the young alumni who are going to eventually replace these guys in 30, 40 years.
I think the student argument is the best argument you have. I also think it's the worst, because if they're coming for one game, then you're not really making fans. You're not developing fans. Bringing in a regional rival where there's excitement and you could actually fill the stadium is a better idea to me. Louisiana Lafayette is the number one school that I always go to with this. Okay. Right. Louisiana Lafayette has a small but very committed fan base.
Right.
They grew up just like me, where going to Houston was a big deal. We vacationed here. You know, I remember in 1990, we went to an Astros game, and the next day we went to an Oilers preseason game. And that was a really big deal for me. It was, I believe, Jack Pardee's first preseason game as coach.
Right.
But coming to Houston was huge.
Mm-hmm.
And Louisiana Lafayette brings people when this game is played. U of H brought people to Louisiana Lafayette a few times. Also, you played Tulane there in 2005. That's the kind of school I think would be interesting. UTSA brought a good crowd. I think where Texas State is bringing their program, that could work. I also think, and this is on a smaller scale, but Sam Houston can be that program in the future. There are schools that are interested in their program, and I think that's just a better game. You're never going to get this game, this Rice U of H game, off of ESPN Plus now. It's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, in past years you've had it off of there, but with how things have consolidated with leagues, you're just stuck on ESPN Plus. And I don't see the upside to playing them every year in football. Basketball is fine. Baseball is fine. Women's basketball, fine. But football, it matters who you play. And I just don't know if it's the right thing. Now, I'll 100% defer to whoever the football coach is. If they think it's a good idea, fine. But if they are indifferent, I think an athletic director can go and get better games for you than Rice is.
What if you can?
We're going to now selectively put comments on the screen. Okay, end of list.
Why not do both?
What does that mean?
Why play an FCS team? Sign Rice and then sign ULala deal, sign UTSA deal.
I think it's one of the dumber things this program's done in the last few years is to not get those FCS games. You need games where you are for sure going to be able to play a lot of guys, where you can rest guys. You didn't get to do that with Rice last year. You had to play 2 overtimes.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not good. And you went down to the wire with UTSA, and then you had Rice with double overtime the year before. You had overtime with UTSA, I think 3, and then double at Texas Tech.
Yeah, but I don't want to build a schedule or even use a scheduling philosophy based off of the worst coach we've ever had.
Well, he's not. Hi, Major.
Oh shit!
He's in the conversation. Oh, there's no way.
Opie didn't have 3 losing seasons.
Well, he didn't have 3 seasons.
Well, he did. He didn't have 2 losing seasons his first 2 years.
He did not.
Either.
But he also got gifted a lot of talent, and then he got a great offensive coordinator in the second year who worked. I don't know if Kendall Browse works now. TCU lost to UCF late last night. I didn't even realize it until about lunch today.
Yep.
Oh, well. But yeah, I will always fight that Major is a way worse coach than Dana.
Nope.
The Big 12 requires they don't require, because U of H hasn't done it the first 2 years. I don't think Kansas did it last year, maybe somebody else. But it is the recommended scheduling model is 1 P5, which they do require that, a G5, and an FCS. You can play 2 G5s, but it's not to your benefit. With Rice, you do have to go across town. Having those games at home matters. And it matters to suite holders. It matters to multimedia people. It matters to students, getting them out. It matters to tailgating and everything else, building the program you're trying to build.
Yep.
If you have that FCS team there, you always get that game at home. If you partner with Louisiana Lafayette or somebody like that, you don't. Sam Houston, at least for now, is an FBS program where you do not have to return that game. And so that's a benefit. And I don't see the point of U of H going across town to Rice every other year, or even if you do it once every 3 years, which has never been the case. But if you did it once every 3 years, I don't think it's the right thing. So we don't disagree on a lot of core issues, but now I found out we disagree on Rice. We disagree on Major being the worst coach ever. So that's kind of interesting.
I don't know, because I don't know of any coach who's had 3 losing seasons for U of H.
Well, Kim Helton, Dana Dimmel, Art Browse.
See, I don't even think back that far.
Oh.
I don't think Browse did. I think he was
2004.
Yeah, 2003.
And then he went
we made the bowl.
6 in 2005. So yeah, that's 2. And Sumlin had the 1, and Levine had the 1. Yeah. So. So there you go. That's going to be the show for tonight. Really liked Jack Martin, really liked Jamal, of course. You know what else I like is Star Pizza. The Maryland is where it's at. Thursday night, I'm going to try the pasta.
Yes.
There's a pasta I looked at. I've decided that's where I'm going to go, and I have totally blanked on what it is.
Lasagna?
No.
Cannelloni?
That one is a cannelloni. I'm going to add chicken and just see how that goes for me.
Yeah, it's good. But I don't, when it comes to Italian food, I don't know what you like. So.
Me either. I like that onion only pizza.
And get the garlic bread with cheese. It'd be worth it.
Okay. I mean, at some point, it's just bread, right?
Just garlic bread with a big slab of mozzarella cheese that's been
okay. There you go. But Star Pizza, great supporter of U of H athletes, of shows like this, Pod Slam and Jamma, who they had a pretty good show last night. I'm not going to lie. Maybe check them out later. 3 locations in Katy, on Norfolk at 59 and Shepherd, and then on Washington at Harvard near Heights Boulevard. Lunch specials 5 days a week, buffet Tuesday and Friday. You're going to see Brad Townsend and I at the Harvard and Washington location one day this week. I will probably be there Thursday night with the specialists. Come join us. Why not? Don't talk to us, but come join us. No, please talk to us. We appreciate all the kind words that people are giving us. Great show, very brat. Jesus Christ. Right?
That's just bad. Don't use that word. That's terrible.
Don't use that. Thanks for another great show. So we appreciate y'all. Thanks to Jack and Jamal. This is the first time that we've done this show where we haven't had Kelvin Sampson, Willie Fritz, or Eddie Nunez. But I think it still went pretty well.
Absolutely.
We don't have the top headline guys, but we had 2 really solid guys. I did not have a Brat summer.
If Brat is not followed up with worst, then don't use it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you. Thank y'all so much. GoCougs.com. All week. We'll be at practice in 12 hours, and we'll just keep kicking it.
Back at it.
Every single day.
Time to crank up the Big 12 schedule.
But no Cincinnati trip this weekend. Taken this weekend at home game for me. Really excited about it. And 11 a.m. game. So get to have an afternoon and an evening.
Yeah,
and I'm not stuck in Cincinnati for 2 nights, which is the worst part.
Imagine being in Cincinnati for an early game, and then you have to sit there and be in Cincinnati.
There's no late flights. We tried. Looked at some things. Even flying in the morning of the game. The 11 a.m. game for Cincinnati, terrible. So
sorry, Cincinnati. Your city is the best I can say is quaint.
City's okay. It's quaint. Fine. But yeah. All right. Thank y'all so much for watching. We appreciate it. And yeah.